So in class we reviewed order of operations. We've done this a lot. But one more time, we have PEMDAS, PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, however you choose to remember that. Just a quick refresher. So we see P, we do parentheses or grouping symbols. Remember, there are other grouping symbols besides just parentheses. Next, then, we're going to do exponents. We're going to evaluate those exponents. After that, we have multiplication and division. Now, we put those together because they're equally important. Whichever comes first is what we do. So if division comes before multiplication, we're going to do that division first. And then again, the same thing with addition and subtraction. Whichever comes first, those are equally important. And so moving on then from that refresh on order of operations, let's just write this order of operations out with a set of directions. I'm going to write everything out without simplifying as we go because we're going to do this later with a variable. So I'm going to start with 5. I'm going to multiply that 5 by 6, which we know is 30, but again, we're writing out every step. I'm going to put that in parentheses because that's going to be important as we go on, right? So my next step is going to be to add 15. So 5 times 6. Having those parentheses helps me to remember that I've got to do that 5 times 6 first before I add that 15. So if I were simplifying this, I'd say 30 plus 15, I'd be at 45. We'll just write that over here so we can keep track of where we are. All right, so I'm going to divide that result by 3. So step 1, step 2, step 3. I'm going to divide the result by 3. Now this is really important. So dividing the result by 3, I have to be careful. I don't just want to do this, right? Because that says I'm just dividing 15 by 3. This says divide the result by 3, which means I need to divide everything I've done so far by 3. So that's going to look like that. You might see the quantity divided by 3. You might see all divided by 3. Those are some key phrases that you're going to use, or that you're going to see for this. Everything divided by 3. Subtract your answer from 80 is my last step. Step 5, subtract your answer from 80. So would it be right to do this? Oops, that's supposed to be a times. Sorry for the mistake. So 5 times 6 plus 15, all divided by 3. Now, am I going to say minus 80? Is that in the right spot? So this says subtract your answer from 80. From 80 is going to tell me that my 80 actually comes first. So subtract everything I've done from 80. So be really, really careful about that subtraction. So 80 is actually going to come at the beginning. 80 minus everything I've done so far. It would be the other way around if it said subtract 80 from everything else, but it's not. It's the other way around. I'm going to take everything I've done and subtract 80 from there. And I didn't keep up here on my right column, so I have 45. I'm dividing that by 3 to get 15, right? And I'm subtracting that from 80, so 80 minus 15 is 65. It's really important to follow that order of operations, or I'm going to come up with different answers than everybody else. All right, let's try another one. So what if I started with 14 instead? So I'm starting with 14. Now I'm just getting myself a little bit more organized with this chart. I'm going to multiply by 6. So 14 times 6. I'm going to keep up over on my right column. Let's do some mental math. 14 times 6, well, 10 times 6 is 60, and 4 times 6 is 24. So 60 and 24 is 84. Now let's keep going. I'm going to add 15. So again, I'm going to use those parentheses to make sure I know what I'm doing first. I'm going to add 15 to 84 and get 99. I'm going to divide that result by 3. So again, 14 plus 6 times 6 plus 15, dividing the result by 3. So 99 divided by 3 is 33. Let's move up a little bit. Oops. Let's try that again. And I'm going to subtract that from 80. So this will look like 14 times 6 plus 15 divided by 3. And from 80 means my 80 would be here. So 80 minus 33 is going to give me 47. All right. This time we're not going to start with a value, a number. We're going to start with a variable. So I'm actually going to start with x this time. But I'm going to do the same thing. Now here I can't evaluate as I go, or I can't simplify, I should say, as I go, because I have a variable. I don't have a number. So if I multiply that variable by 6, I would say 6 times x, and you're just going to see 6x, right? I'm going to add 15 to that, so 6x plus 15. I'm going to go ahead and put that in parentheses in my next step when I divide the result by 3. Those parentheses just remind me that I have to do that before I divide by 3. And then finally, I'm going to subtract that answer from 80. So that means 80 goes at the beginning. 6x plus 15, all divided by 3. That way, no matter what number x is, I can simplify that expression by using 80 minus the quantity, 6x plus 15, divided by 3. Now, I want to do one more. So this one's just a little bit different. So here again, my start value is just x. Whatever number I choose. My next step, so it looks like here's x. It looks like the first thing I would have done with x is divide by 4, right? So now I have x divided by 4. What does it look like is the next thing I did? Because I have these parentheses here, it looks like inside of there I would have added 2. My next step is to add 2. So x divided by 4 plus 2. So put that in parentheses. And finally, looks like with everything that's in those parentheses, I multiplied by 5. So I have 5 times x over 4 plus 2. Now the 5 could come at the end. I could take this quantity and then multiply it by 5, but that's because multiplication is commutative, right? So with addition and multiplication, that can come at the beginning or the end. Be careful with subtraction. You have to put subtraction in the right place. You have to put division in the right place because those are not commutative.